Viridian, The Green Guide, by Clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. Read by Oak 5. Chapter 88. Awakening. Summary. Exactly what it says on the tin. Ogawa was frustrated. He hated being in a coma. Most of the time, it was just like sleeping, and maybe it was because of how badly the doctors had messed with his brain and body, but there were times when he could have sworn that he could hear what was happening outside. It was weird and trippy, and felt like he was listening to things from 6 feet underwater, but it was better than being 6 feet underground. Too many times, the thought had occurred to him that he was just so desperate for something that he was imagining it. But if it was real, then Bakugo was his most frequent visitor, aside from who he assumed were doctors and nurses. He couldn't really understand what he was saying, but it was comforting to imagine that it was something along the lines of, "If you don't wake up soon, I'll personally make sure you never do." It seemed like something Kachan would say. The only good thing that had come from the whole never-ending sleep thing was that he had had a lot of time to get to know the shadows in his head. Well, they weren't really shadows anymore, more like blurry figures, like he was looking at his own reflection in a foggy mirror after taking a shower or something. And they were getting more and more solid the more he got used to them. They still couldn't talk to each other or anything, but he was getting more used to the way they communicated for now. He figured he may as well get to know them and maybe even become friends, since he wasn't stupid enough to think that whatever Sensei had done to him could be reversed. This was his life now, and he just had to get used to it. The shadows weren't ever very active during those times when Bakugo visited. Sure, they were curious, but they didn't know him, not like Ogawa did. So they took a back seat and let him sit and enjoy the company as much as he could when he wasn't sure the visits were even real. It wasn't much, but it was consistent, which was what made the current visit so surprising. The first surprising thing actually had absolutely nothing to do with the shadows. It was that Bakugo brought a visitor, or at least an unfamiliar voice, but that shouldn't have been a big deal. It wasn't a big deal, except for the fact that the voice was only unfamiliar to him. His boulder shadow reacted immediately, and he felt almost overwhelmed by a wall of eagerness. He felt like he was practically jumping out of his skin, and bits and pieces of emotions and even memories that weren't him flashed through his mind. He didn't know whether he should try to calm down or just roll with it, but he didn't seem to have much of a choice in the matter. His shudder was getting louder and more anxious, and Ogawa literally felt like he was about to explode as they fought to get out or wake up or whatever they were trying to do. The unfamiliar voice said something else, and Ogawa was overwhelmed by a new wave of fighting and emotion from his shadow. There was so much energy that there was no place it could go, so it just went out. Ogawa gasped as more memories that weren't his flowed through him, and he suddenly knew exactly who was visiting, both recognizing and not recognizing her at the same time. Mina. Mina stared at the guy in the bed in shock. She swore that he had never seen this Ogawa guy before in her life, but he pretty obviously knew her, and was apparently excited enough to see her that it was enough to wake him up out of coma. If it had actually been Auntie Di in the bed, she would have been ecstatic, but as it was, she didn't know how to feel. Was this whole thing supposed to be creepy? Because it kind of felt a little bit creepy. Unlike her, Bakugo apparently knew exactly how to feel, because he was pissed. "What the fuck? You asshole! I saved your ass from those freaking bees, and I've been coming here for weeks, and you don't even flinch. But the stupid pink extra comes and all of a sudden you're singing and dancing like you got a goddamn golden ticket or something? Seriously?" "It wasn't me, man," the stranger groaned. "It was... Alright, well, it's kinda complicated, and I don't really know how to explain. I swear, though, it's nothing personal. If I could have woken up, I would've." "Uh-huh," Bakugo scoffed. "Sure. Well, at least one of your quirks apparently cares about other people more than you do." "Other..." Ogawa's eyes widened. "You know about them?" Bakugo stopped. "Viridian figured it out, but honestly it was pretty fucking obvious. I mean, you come back and can all of a sudden produce acid? Like, obviously you're not that talented, so it must have come from somewhere." "Aw," he grinned. "You could have just said you miss me." Bakugo rolled his eyes. "As if, you idiot. You can't believe you woke up for raccoon eyes and not for me." "Raccoon eyes?" Ogawa looked over at her and took a sharp breath. "Mina, Wow, this is really weird. I'm so sorry. You don't even know me. And, I guess I don't know you either. Sorry, this is awkward and it's really kinda complicated. Aunt he die? Mina didn't know what else to say. This guy obviously wasn't her aunt, but at the same time, Bakugo was right. There had to be something left of her to make Ogawa wake up when Mina walked in. And maybe that was why he recognized her, even though they'd never met. It was probably just wishful thinking, but at the same time... I don't know. Ogawa shrugged. That feels right, somehow. I think they recognize you. They? Bakugo asked. Like, I figured you had her quirk or something, but are you telling me you can actually, like, tell who your quirk came from? More like feel them and kinda see them? Ogawa frowned. I don't have a lot of detail yet, but maybe that'll change. Kumo said that I should get to know... Ogawa's eyes widened in panic and he tried to stand, only to almost fall to the ground and have to be caught by Mina and Bakugo. Kumo! He's still there, and I don't know how long... What if they already... We have to get him out! Slow down. You've been poisoned, you idiot, and even a little bit of that shit put me out of commission for days. Bakugo tried. Let's start again. Kumo, is that the guy you wanted me to save? Ogawa nodded frantically, but reluctantly let him sit him back down on the bed. He was there longer than me. I don't know who he is. Alright, Bakugo nodded. How do we find him? Can you describe him or what? He's older than me? Ogawa frowned. Probably late 20s or something. He had a cloud quirk, like the guy basically had water vapor for hair, but they did the same thing to me that they did to him. Now it's all dark and stuff, but they didn't tell him what it did, so I don't... You have to save him. We have to go. Now, before they move him. He tried to stand again, but Bakugo just pushed him back onto the bed as doctors came rushing to the room. Patient's awake, but vitals elevated. Get out of here, kids! What? Bakugo seemed almost ready to fight the doctors. Are you kidding? He was about to tell us the... Mina hurriedly tugged on his arm. Come on and let the doctors do their work. We can always come back after the field trip tomorrow and talk to him. Your presence is obviously distressing him, one of the doctors warned. Don't worry, it's fairly common in coma patients, but for right now, we need to make sure he doesn't slip back to sleep, so any unnecessary stresses need to get out. Fine, we're going, Bakugo growled. But don't think this conversation is over, tentacle freak. You gotta help me take these monsters down. The doctors pushed them out of the room and slammed the door before Ogawa could respond, and they just sat in silence, staring at the door as Mina tried her best not to go into shock. Okay. That just happened, I guess? Fuck this. Bakugo snarled and started stalking away. I'm gonna find those bastards and make them pay. Kacha knew that he should be anywhere besides on the streets right now. He should be at home, or at the hospital, or even at Izuku's, because the nerd probably knew more than he did at this point, and would probably be able to figure out the stupid identity of Ogawa's mystery friend a lot faster than he could. But he was so restless and angry that he needed to do something, and at the moment, that something was pounding the pavement and chasing half a lead. So, here he was, reaching out to his contacts and focusing to the point that he was distracted and didn't care about anything except finding the villain factory so he could tear the entire operation to the ground. Which was probably how he'd ended up with a knife to his throat. Figures? Oh, you're the hero that Mr. Stanley was talking about, huh? The girl holding the knife was far too excited to be holding a deadly weapon. Your name's Kachan, right? That's super duper cute, but you know you'd be even cuter if you just let me cut you up a little bit. No way, Kachan growled. Get away from me, you freaking serial killer, Kinney. Oh, that's no fun. The girl pouted and moved her knife, but not before nicking Katsuki's skin, making him hiss as a drop of blood started sliding down his throat. When he saw the way she was eyeing it, he scrambled back and hurried to wipe it away. If her quirk was anything like Stain's, he didn't want her anywhere near his blood. What do you want? Katsuki growled. I'm kinda busy, and I don't have time to play around with psychopaths. Oh, I just wanted to introduce myself, the girl grinned, showing off her fangs. I'm Himiko Toga. I love Mrs. Stanley, and I wanted to see the cute hero he was talking about. You're just as cute as I imagined, but you should... I'm not gonna let you cut me up, Katsuki scowled. Fine, you've met me. Whoop-de-doo. Now leave me alone. I got places to be. He stalked away, but the girl simply skipped after him. Ooh, are you investigating that big attack tomorrow? I don't really do big groups, not nearly enough blood to go around, but it sounded interesting. Katsuki stopped in his tracks. What? Toga giggled. Oh, you don't know? Katsuki looked at her suspiciously. Maybe I know, maybe I don't. Why don't you tell me and let's find out? I could, Toga hummed. But that'd be no fun. I could make a trade, though. You seem like fun, so I don't want you dying too early, especially when I'm not there to see it. Gee, thanks, Katsuki drawled. Now, what sort of a trade? Your blood? Toga grinned. Can I have a taste? Pretty please. What? Katsuki read back. Fuck no. Toga pouted. Fine. Then can I cut you? Just the teeniest little bit. I promise I won't even hit any major arteries. Katsuki couldn't believe he was actually considering this. That the creepy stain soon cut him up or what? Know that there was an attack that he could have helped the police prepare for and didn't even know enough to help? This could be a trick, but for some reason Toga didn't really seem like the type who thought it was fun to lie. She'd be more likely to tell the truth in a suitable cryptic way to get a rise out of him, and, unfortunately for him, it was working. Fine, he spat out. Just get it over with already. Toga's face lit up, and Katsuki swallowed hard as he tried not to regret his decision. It was just a little pain, right? It's not like he hadn't put Izuku through worse. It was all just a part of being a hero. Toga's knife flashed out quickly, but she took her time giving him a long cut across his jaw. Katsuki held back his flinch, but jumped back when she went to lick the wound. Don't even think about it, blood freak. That's not what we agreed on. Toga pouted again. But it looks so good on you. Katsuki glared at her. Are you gonna give me the info or not? Fine. Toga heaved a heavy sigh. You should probably skip school tomorrow. There's an organization gathering up a bunch of people for tomorrow, and I'm not sure exactly where and when they're gonna do stuff, but I might be able to remember more if you let me have a taste. Katsuki shook his head. As much as he wanted the info, the risk was too high. He had no idea what this Toga girl could do if she got her hands on his blood, and until he knew that, there was no way he could let her have that sort of power over him. He already knew there was going to be a large-scale attack, and that it was probably going to be enough. It had to be. See you around, blood bitch, Katsuki said, stalking off. Oh, and if you ever try to hold a knife to my throat one more time, you're never gonna be cute again. The only response he got as he walked away was the giggle that he knew would haunt his nightmares. Tomorrow was going to be a long day. We got to see how Toga met Bakugo. That's cute. I'm really happy about getting to voice Toga, even just for a little bit. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 88 of Viridian the Green Guide, and I see you all next time. Bye!